Hey guys, welcome to the world of sensing over here on my channel. Hey everyone, welcome to the world of Sense'N By Sherif. If you've not come across me before, my name is Leonie Sherif. I am the founder and creator of Sense'N By Sherif, the perfume brand, and I'm also a musical artist and singer-songwriter. So firstly, I want to wish you all a happy new year. I hope you all had a great Christmas, and I hope you're all starting off 2024 setting great intentions for the year ahead, and really just, I guess, recovering from the whole festive season, the holiday season, and just ramping into getting into a new year. Yeah, my cat's back. Gosh, Benji, darling. Look at him. Go away. Oh God, what kind of cat fur in my lip? So as I mentioned on my last video, for any of you that saw it, I said I'd be dropping a blog this year going into a bit more detail about the brand Sense'N. My last video spoke about the inception of the brand, where it all came from, or the idea behind the brand, and my inspiration for it. And this video I'm going to tap into more of the origin story of the brand and how just kind of my journey with scent and perfumery and how I got into even creating a brand in the first place. So the blog is coming out this month, but I wanted to also do a little video just to kind of break down some of the key points of the blog. I guess a blog breakdown. So I'm going to kind of just do it by answering some questions, and hopefully that will give you a nice summary as to what the blog's about. But please also do go check out the blog for a more detailed account of the origin story of Sense'N. So my earliest memories of fragrance come from some of the perfumes that my mum used to wear that I can recall as a child, just notable scents that I remember. And some of the key, well, there were many, but the key ones I remember, because I remember the bottles so clearly and the names of them, were Cacharel, Anais Anais, this beautiful flowery scent. Now when I smell it, I kind of have different feelings about it. It's kind of not something I would necessarily wear, but the memories it evokes are such warm memories. It's a very rich, floral, kind of powdery, sharp scent. And I can just smell it now as I think about it. So Anais Anais was one of the key perfumes I remember having in, like, seeing in my mum's fragrance collection. And another one by Cacharel was Lulu. And I just remember the bottle. It was like this deep blue, kind of deep sky blue bottle with like a kind of ruby red rim. And it was this syrupy, sweet, ambery, deep, yummy scent. I don't know, it kind of, I feel like it felt a little bit smoky. You could get like some jasmine in there. I just remember it being this sweet, don't know, yummy scent. I think it just reminded me of my mum, because my mum used to wear it a lot those times. So those were some of my earlier memories. And then I remember a fragrance by Givenchy called Organza, and I just loved the bottle. The bottle was this beautiful kind of silhouette of a woman's dress, and it smelled so good. Like, it was one of those fragrances that made me feel like, oh, this is very womanly. This is very like demure. This is like a lady-like fragrance. It was very sexy. The bottle itself was sexy, but I remember it being like a yummy, ambery, floral, vanillic. There were vanillic facets to the scent, and I just remember it being, yeah, quite sharp. It had a nuttiness to it. I don't know if it was like I think it was like a walnut actually. It had like a nuttiness. It was like floral. It was vanillic. It was sexy. And I remember being like, oh, that one is gorgeous. So those are some of my earliest memories. I also remember my dad wearing Duke Homme. It was like this deep red bottle, and it was, I don't even know how to describe the scent because it was a long time ago, but I remember thinking it was just really nice. Like, when my dad, sometimes he'd come out the shower and he'd be wearing it and I'd be like, oh, that is so nice. I feel like there was like heliotrope in there. I remember, actually, my memory goes back to like smelling a kind of almondy heliotrope, spicy. There was some freshness, maybe some bergamot. It was quite a unique scent, and it just reminded me of my dad at the time. So those were my very early scent memories. I feel like there was cardamom in there as well, like it was a spicy scent. But those would be my very earliest memories, and then obviously they kind of inspired me to want to like have my own fragrances. And I remember some of my earliest fragrances were I think Versace Blue Jeans was the first one I bought, which is obviously kind of considered more of a man's fragrance, but I loved that scent. Some of the first fragrances I bought were, I bought Versace Blue Jeans, which again was considered quite a masculine scent at the time, but I loved wearing it. It was like a fougere vibe. I think it had some tonka and lavender in there, but it was also very marine feeling. It just was a beautiful scent. Like it was so cheap as well, I remember, but I love Versace Blue Jeans. I think I bought Fifth Avenue by Elizabeth Arden. It had a nice kind of floral ambery freshness. It was quite a fresh, kind of a blend between like a bit of a citrus amber, if I can remember correctly. Giorgio Beverly Hills Violet was another perfume I loved. It was like in a little violet bottle, and it almost smelt kind of violet to me. I don't know how to really explain that, but that was quite a nice fruity floral scent. I think it had some woods in the base, like a sandalwood or some vetiver. But I remember those, and I remember buying like the high street scent So. Who remembers So? It was like So dot 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 exclamation mark, or was it question mark? That was like something I would chuck in my school bag, and like those are some of my earliest memories of scent. And I remember one of my favorite earliest gifts of perfume was Anna Sui Dreams was one of the first fragrances that was bought for me that I really loved. And I remember it came in like a little handbag shape, and it was a really like ethereal kind of vanillic scent. I just remember not being able to really pinpoint what I was smelling with that, and it just brings back such memories. But those are some of my earliest experiences with fragrances that I can recall. Some of the earliest staples in my collection, so I've kind of mentioned that was really early on. So yeah, I guess I was kind of getting into fragrance in my early teenage years in secondary school, and some of my staple scents were, I think, Machino Cheap and Cheek was one of them. Burberry Weekend, Nina by Nina Ricci, which was kind of like this apple fruity lush scent. I wore that a lot. It was kind of like my pretty girl scent. It made you feel pretty and cute, and it was just sweet and delightful. One of my sexier scents that was a staple in my collection was She by Emporio Armani. I love the bottle. It kind of reminds me like of what Kim Kardashian did with some of her Skims branding, for some of her Skims beauty product branding, but that bottle was iconic, and the scent was gorgeous. Like it was like a musky, sexy scent. Another like scent that made me feel like, ooh, grown, like proper grown up. Gucci Rush, which was kind of like a bit of an abstract scent. It was, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, because a lot of these scents I haven't smelt since those times, so I'm going strictly off memory. Gucci Rush had something fierce about it. I feel like it was the patchouli note that really kind of set it aside. It was vanillic, but not in like a sweet vanillic way. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was like a blast of something. It kind of had like a retro futuristic feel to me. I think like the bottle was even like a cassette, but it was a very futuristic scent. I feel like there was a cardamom note in there. It was a really abstract fragrance, but it was kind of edgy, and I really enjoyed that. It was like one of those, yeah, I think that was a bit later down the line though, that I ended up obtaining that fragrance. Also Innocent by Thierry Mugler, which this is kind of moving more into like my later teens, maybe early 20s, but I love that scent so much. I think it's so underrated and understated as well. I feel like it's the more innocent version of Angel, the iconic Angel. But I loved Innocent. It was kind of like a softer version. There was also this one fragrance called Paramore by Clarins that I loved. It was a really nice ambery scent, and it had a pink pepper note in there, which I think I was captivated by. But yeah, there were so many. There are so many I'm even forgetting, but those are the ones that really come to mind. What are my favourite fragrance? Ooh. What are my favourite fragrance families? Oh, that's a good question. My favourite fragrance families would be gourmand, vanilla, amber, which, you know, I feel like vanilla comes into amber anyway. I think they used to refer to it more as oriental, but they don't use that terminology so much these days. But yeah, I like you know, foodie kind of scent. Gourmand, amber, vanillic, musks. I love woody, deep woody bases. And I like a citrus opening sometimes, but not too much of a sharp citrus. So I'd say, yeah, I'm more the kind of warm, woody amber, floral, gourmand. It's kind of a lot of fragrance families, but I think with fragrance, a lot of perfumes aren't just one fragrance family. They can be kind of comprised of many. For example, Venus, which I will talk about so much more in future videos. I'm actually going to dedicate a whole video to everything about Venus, like the creation, the inspiration, the notes, the, you know, how I wanted to design it, what I wanted to smell like. But Venus, I always describe as a kind of gourmand, vanillic, musk with a kind of floral heart. It's very much a nuanced scent. It's kind of got nuances of all of those fragrance families, and it opens with quite a citrus opening, but it's by no means a citrus fragrance. So yeah, you know, I love those fragrance families predominantly. I also appreciate a lovely fougere, which is normally more masculine scents, and I love chypres as well. Um, I love the oak moss note. I like a nice hint of patchouli, you know, bergamot, jasmine, those ingredients. I love tonka. Um, so I kind of like them all, but I think my collection is mainly filled with gourmand, amber, vanillic musks with fruity florals, nuances within them. Kind of went all over the place there. What does fragrance mean to me? Fragrance to me is very powerful, as I always say. It has the power to kind of take you out of one mood and put you into another. And for me, it's cathartic, it's therapeutic, it's soothing. I go into a lot more detail in the blog, but basically I talk about how throughout my fragrance journey, I turned to fragrance and scent to help soothe me and calm me when I was going through some of my like more difficult times in life. I had a surgery actually in 2022 for a chronic condition, endometriosis, something that had gone undiagnosed for a long time. And I'd been struggling with the pain for a long time, but it gotten to the point where the pain had gotten so out of control. I had this surgery, and post surgery, I didn't recover very well. In fact, I ended up getting more magnified pain, and it's resulted in me having to like deal with managing pain and chronic pain as a part of life now. So during that process post surgery, when I was kind of expecting to start feeling better after healing, of course, and I started realizing I was actually getting worse, and you know, it was quite devastating, to be honest. And one of the things that really helped to soothe me and calm my mind, and I guess just bring down the kind of stress levels within my body and just soothe me, was scent. I turned to aromatherapy. I would blend essential oils. I would diffuse essential oils around the house. I'm also really big on like home fragrancing. So I used to invest a lot into like things like incense and candles and diffusers and room sprays. You know, I think I mentioned actually in the blog that I went through a phase of buying a lot of Laura Ashley reed diffusers and room sprays. I loved Molten Brown home fragrancing products. I love Jo Malone candles. I was big on home fragrancing, and even things like Body Shop and like bath and body products to help you feel good. So all that to say, yeah, I was very much into not just fine fragrance, but like I enjoyed fragrance in the whole experience. I even went through a period post surgery when I started like delving into aromatherapy oils, where I would concoct blends, and as I said, diffuse them throughout the house. I would apply them onto my stomach and my lower back. I would apply them onto like some blankets, hot water bottles sometimes, heat pads. I would have them diffusing in the room. The scent really can elevate your mood, calm you down. They have these, amazing properties that help with your health. Some of my favorite ingredients, like I would use lavender, I would use eucalyptus, bergamot, jasmine. And then I kind of started investing in more high quality essential oils, harder to obtain ones. Pink pepper and cardamom and absolutes I started working with. And it was during this period that I started creating fragranced oils. So I would blend my little essential oils and I would actually make them into kind of rollable perfumes. I also experimented with body products. So as I mentioned before, I was really into like home fragrancing. I loved the Body Shop. I loved creams and bath products because it was all kind of an experience where you get to kind of pamper yourself and feel so much better afterwards. And when you're going through like chronic pain and things like that, and as I said, I went undiagnosed for years. So over the years, I was battling with pain, and I was always looking for that comfort, and it came from scent. Scent provided that for me. So I made like an emulsifying scrub. I made shimmering body butters. I made like plumping shower oils, like very decadent style, thick shower oil that you kind of like foams. And I had this whole ritual going on. So scent was huge to me. And then obviously I was making the fragranced oils and being like, this is really nice. It's very calming. So it's definitely a therapeutic experience for me. It's calming. It can provide a sense of relaxation and alleviation from pain and stress and anxiety. And that's definitely what I used it for. When and how was Sense'N birthed? Okay, so during this journey where I was kind of going through my healing after my surgery, and as I said, I was experimenting with essential oils and making perfumed oils and bath and body products, I would have those scents going all the time. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm also an artist, a musical artist, singer-songwriter. So during the time when I started going back into my home studio and creating, I found that I was becoming really inspired by the fragrances that I had going in the room. I would have these scents diffused in the room. I would be wearing the fragrance oils and I'd be, these fragrances and the scents and the kind of notes within them were transporting me to visualize things. And while I was creating music, I was feeling inspired by the fragrances that were filling my room. So for instance, if I had like a warm frankincense incense burning and I maybe had like a vanillic candle, a vanillic bergamot candle, it was kind of creating pictures of something that was like kind of effervescent but warm and sultry but spiritual. And I would like incorporate that into like my production making. It would inspire the textures of the sounds I was creating, the melodies I was creating, the subject matters. So I found that there was this connection that I was feeling from scent and fragrance when I was creating music. It was like the olfactory was influencing the musical creation and how I was interpreting the sound. And it was a really interesting discovery actually, because I was thinking to myself, I'm actually kind of feeling inspired by this. And I think it was during that period, I think I was actually working on some blends and I started feeling like, oh my gosh, this is kind of influencing my songwriting and my music creation. And that's when the penny dropped. And I was like, oh, I might have something here. I think that's when the first inclination came. There was a lot that came after that. I obviously decided to take perfumery more seriously, and I decided I wanted to go into more fine fragrance and understand the art of perfumery and learning what perfumery actually is. I'd had fun with the essential oils and the aromatherapy and the body products, but I was like, no, I want to focus on fine fragrance. I want to create perfumes, the kind of perfumes that you buy from your favorite designers and the niche brands, and just the world of perfumery and understanding what actually goes into creating a perfume. Alcohol-based perfumes, not so much just the oil based, but delving into these actual aroma chemicals and essential oils and all the materials that are used to actually create the kind of perfumes you buy from retailers. So that was a whole venture in itself. And obviously I went down the road of kind of delving into that and taking that seriously and studying and training and researching and experimenting. And I was creating accords. I always say with me, I'm the kind of person that likes to get my hands dirty. I think theory is really important, but at the same time, I feel like you can learn all the theory in the world. You can be versed and knowledgeable and get lots of information, but if you're not actually like tangibly doing something, you're never going to really get anywhere with it. And I feel like I've been like that with most things in my life, like even music. That's why I say I'm a creative at heart. It comes from the creativity and experimenting and trying things out, and that's how I get some of my, you know, best work. So I was experimenting, I was creating like lots of different accords, and I was kind of actually working on a completely different fragrance to Venus that is still going to come out later down the line. But I created this accord. I wanted a kind of fresh, clean, warm, I don't know, skin-like accord. And I created this accord, and it was just, there was something about it. I can't even explain what it was. It just felt ultra feminine. Not in this girly kind of way, like it wasn't like necessarily sweet, flowery, florally. It was actually just like skin, clean, but it was sexy. It had a kind of pheromonic element to it. And I don't know, people talk about pheromonic perfumes and those perfumes that just make you feel like it's got an element of pheromone to it, like you just feel attracted to the scent. And I know there's a whole big craze online about pheromonic perfumes and partners wearing them, and then their partners finding them irresistible. But this accord had like a pheromonic element to it, a clean, fresh, femme, understated, ethereal vibe. And I was just like, oh, I felt so inspired by it that I actually ended up creating this song. Venus was the song. And from the accord, I then built over like time and kind of, you know, enhanced it and embellished it and went further with it, and it became something a lot bigger than what that one accord was. But that one accord is a vital part of the perfume, and as I said, I will definitely talk more about this in future videos. But yeah, I think that's when Venus was birthed. It was like, oh, Venus has its own soundtrack. And so the scent influenced the song. And as I carried on building the song, elements of the song were also influencing the fragrance process and how, you know, how I was developing the actual perfume Venus. And those two went back and forth with each other, which was quite interesting. But yeah, that's kind of how Sense'N was birthed in the sense of, yeah, this connection between sound and music and scent. And I wanted to bring them together to create this cool experience because I found it to be so just therapeutic for me and such a kind of escapism and something that I really enjoyed. And it was a heightened sensory experience as well. It was like, oh, not only am I smelling something and seeing these images in my mind from what I smell and having these memories evoked from what this scent is giving me, but I'm also kind of having this kind of musical experience where I can kind of interpret the notes in this fragrance through an experience of the music, whether it's textual, whether it's, you know, soundscape, textures in the actual sound composition, vocally, melodically, harmonically, lyrically. Like there are so many like touch points between the music and the scent and the, you know, the note profile, the vibe of the fragrance. So yeah, that kind of summarizes it, I think. But definitely go check out the article. I just wanted to kind of conversationally break down some of the kind of, you know, break down the essence of the blog, and I guess kind of go into a little bit more detail on some of the points and give you a bit of insight as to the whole origins of how Sense'N by Sherif came to be and the inspiration behind it, how it ties in with the music. Do check out the blog on my website, www.sense'nbysherif.com. Check out my Instagram, Sense'N by Sherif. It's actually at Sense'N Sherif. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. Venus is coming very soon. I'll be doing a special giveaway actually, February, for Valentine's Day, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, thanks for checking out this video. I hope I was able to give you a bit more insight as to the origins behind the brand Sense'N and the inspiration behind it and my journey with scent, my history with scent, what scent means to me, how I use it in my day-to-day life. It's kind of, you know, soothing and therapeutic side that inspired me to want to create this brand. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video. I will be talking a lot more about Venus, the debut fragrance to come out of Sense'N, and yeah, look forward to sharing with you. Look, the cat's about. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next one. Take care until then, and see you next time. Bye bye. Come in the video.